Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to the AMDPL Premier League. Sorry about the delays, but welcome back to our second best of 3 of the evening. It's going to be Mith.Trust up against FXO. I'm Basecamp. I'm here in association with Talk to provide some coverage, and joining me today for some biased commentary, and he can explain why it's going to be some biased commentary, I have Swizzler. So how you doing, buddy?
Hey everybody, yep, Swizzler here. Biased as all hell. I work with the FXO team. Make videos and stuff for them, and I was at the NSL there kind of covering them. So yeah, biased as all hell, but you know, sometimes it's good to be biased.
Yeah, sometimes you can provide some color, and I'll just try and be the counterpoint. So Mith.Trust, they were an invited team to this event. I think most people should be pretty familiar with them, but do you want me to give a little bit of background on FXO, or would you prefer to do it, Swizzler?
Oh yeah, sure, I'd love to. So, you know, the team is, it was kind of constructed over the last 3 or 4 months or so, and we brought March over from North America to kind of, you know, anchor the team and you know, build the team around him, kind of. So yeah, March and Febby, they've both done some stuff internationally, you know, in North America and whatnot. Febby was in Alliance for a bit, and, you know, so he really knows what he's doing. And you know, he plays carry, so he's quite good. Definitely look out for him to make some really good plays, some really sick plays this game. And Anarchy and Sagan, well, actually QO. See, I don't know. I'm not sure. Is the stand-in doctor? That's not QO. Is
that's not QO. That's not roasted kimchi. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought that QO was going to be here today, so I'm not. You know, I'm not sure where he is either. You know, maybe I have to call up the coach. But it's kind of strange that, you know, this is a pretty important game for our team, but QO's not here. Yeah, I'll try to figure that out during the break. But yeah, anyways, QO and Sagan, they've done some stuff internationally as well a bit. So, you know, this team isn't really all. I mean, it's all Korean, of course, and they're all playing Korea, and they want to, you know, play in the Korean scene, and they want to play Korean tournaments, and they want to kind of represent Korea and do well internationally. But they have a lot of international experience. You know, and so that probably, you know, that really contributed to them doing so well in the NSL recently. So yeah, and so usually March, he's the captain, right? And he likes to play off lane, you know, stuff like Nature's Prophet, and you know, Sagan, usually he's in the back. He does support. Anarchy also both support. Febby, like I said, he's the carry, and you know, usually QO is the mid lane. You know, a very crucial role, but he's not here today, so yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, so just to wrap that one up, so FXO, Anarchy and QO is obviously not with it, well, not with the team today. They were both known players in the Australian scene for a while, playing under the team name of Akma, so some people might recognize them from that. They were participated in some of these same events that FXO will hopefully be participating in over the course of the next however many months in the next kind of year. And FXO, obviously the winners of the NSL, so congratulations to the team. Trip to TI3 as spectators for all of them and whatnot. So they've got one win under their belt. Looked pretty strong there. They blitzed through the qualifier here for the AMD Premier League, so that was fantastic for them. I don't think they dropped a single game in that qualifier. They came in as the lowest seed. They worked their way all the way up, and anybody who remembers the qualifier format for this event, it was pretty grueling. The 8th seed played the 7th seed, the winner of that played the 6th seed, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the number 1 seed. But yeah, that was about it. So yeah, FXO, looking forward to more of them here.
Road.
Yeah, it was a very long road, and looking forward to see what they can do here on a slightly more international scale. And I guess this is probably their first. I mean, I don't want to, you know, to put down the level of competition in the LS or anything like that, but this is probably their first true test, and let's see what they have to show us here, because they are Korean Dota, I suppose, at the moment. That's Korean Dota is epitomized by FXO. But anyway,
yeah.
Enough about FXO. So, getting ourselves into the draft, we're going to have Visage and Batrider as the bans for Mith.Trust. We're going to have Weaver, Keeper of the Light, and as the bans for FXO. They're going to pick up a pretty strong support pairing off the bat of the Nyx Assassin and the Shadow Demon. And Lifestealer and Rubik will be taken here by Mith.Trust. So both teams kind of focusing in on their tri lanes so far. OD is still in the pool, and FXO did play that quite a bit over the course of the NSL, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see them looking towards that, perhaps. And Gyrocopter going to end up being the ban here. Interestingly enough, our friend Darkseer is still in the pool, but not really the focus for either side just yet.
OD is still in the pool.
Yeah. Do you mind if we just remake this call really quickly, Swizzler? I think you're getting a little bit choppy here and there for me. I think remaking it might just help. It'll just be a second, guys.
Sure.
Sweet. Welcome back.
Yeah, and apologies to everyone if my voice isn't coming through very clearly. At this time of night in Korea, usually the international connection is kind of crap, like kind of really crap.
Okay, so it gets a bit dicey. That's interesting. Okay, have you made sure that your microphone is also open in Dota TV before we start getting that going on in stream chat? So Swizzler would just verify that. Okay, sweet, awesome. So we've got Crystal Maiden and Alchemist as the bans here for FXO. We've got Gyrocopter and Templar Assassin, definitely top picks from FXO during the NSL, and Skywrath Mage going to be taken here by Mith.Trust.
Pick.
A very interesting pick, a little bit out of left field. And Skywrath Mage, not a super conventional support. I mean, combos pretty nicely with the Rubik and the Lifestealer because they already have a carry who can be doing some lockdown. But I'm interested to see if Mith.Trust are going to be moving this towards the mid lane, if they're going to be moving it towards the tri lane. Again, Skywrath Mage, either a mid or a support. We'll see what they're working on here. Abba, I've only really seen him play a lot of DK, pretty much non-stop, as much as I've been watching Mith.Trust. So that's still in the pool, maybe still a strong option for them. But I wouldn't mind seeing him pilot something a little bit different on that lane. So maybe the Skywrath Mage will be his. We'll have to see.
Yeah, well, they already have Lifestealer in the lineup. I don't know if they pick up DK, but still, OD is in the. Yeah, OD is still available, but I'm surprised that FXOpen didn't pick him up, because he'd be a pretty nice pick. Not sure. I guess the Windrunner pick it's decent, but I would have liked to see the OD there. Just a really solid mid hero, and these days he's been getting first banned and second banned very often. Very strong hero. So a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught it in the last best of 3, but yeah, I said I've stuck my neck out, and I've said that OD is going to be one of the top picks of the top bans for the duration of TI3. He might get nerfed before the competition, but
there's the DK.
He might get nerfed before the competition, but I'll put my neck out about that one. And FXO, interestingly enough, they're going to pick up a Shadow Fiend here. Doesn't have an amazing time against Skywrath Mage and a lot of stuns, which Mith.Trust do have, but we have seen the Shadow Fiend do fantastically against the Dragon Knight. Isn't aggressive enough mid to drive him out of the lane, and also the presence of the Dark Lord makes him a lot less tanky in later stages of the game, which can help mess with DK's expectations as far as how survivable he actually is. FXO, I'm interested to see if this is going to be a safe lane. I mean, it could be a safe lane Shadow Fiend. I don't think that's going to be the case, so I think we're still expecting to see one last primary carry. And one last note on that OD, it is a full best of 3, so if you've got a super secret strat up your sleeve that you think, or a pick that you feel that the enemy team is incorrectly disregarding, why not win game 1 in more stable style, and then just take what you feel are the safe, sure win picks for game 2. So maybe that's the plan for FXO here.
Could see Meepo. Could see last pick Meepo.
Yeah, could be the
It's always
Meepo.
out there.
We saw it in the very last game of the NSL for FXO. I mean, that game was, for anybody who didn't watch it, I think we had Pudge, Meepo, Axe, and a bunch of other exciting heroes besides, but it was a little bit of fun for both teams. But yeah, it was a good one. Go check out the VODs if you haven't seen it, and especially do you know, Swizzler, if GOM are gonna release
VODs? That's just a mess. That's just a mess. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't know why, but GOM TV, they haven't released the VODs even behind the paywall, and I really wanted to see some of the really interesting commentary and the actual event. But the only thing that's up there for the games is the stuff from Beyond the Summit and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I was casting the whole time, right? So I didn't get to watch any of the Korean casting. So I wanted to go back.
I don't know what's going on there.
I wanted to go back and just experience the hype. But yeah, okay. So unfortunately, bad news as far as that's concerned. But Mith.Trust.
But guys, good news is I will call GOM TV and I'll tell them hype guy, as someone said on our Reddit post, the hype guy, you know, in the center. They want to hear more of him.
Yeah.
I'll try to get the VODs out. Okay.
Let's get some more Dota action going on. I think the fans would definitely appreciate having access to those VODs, especially the people who, I mean, were around at a weird time for those games because they were a little bit outside of the norm for most of competitive Dota. It was great for me. It was in the afternoon. That was fantastic. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So Mith.Trust, they're going to pick up the Clinks here, so I think they're locking themselves into an aggressive tri lane. And FXO, we'll see how they end up choosing to go defensive.
Oh, yeah!
Nice.
Yes,
Ursa
yes,
action.
Yes.
He is the anti-lifestealer, if there ever was one. And pretty good against Dragon Knight as well. So, yeah, FXO, some interesting stats. And again, guys, welcome back to the AMD Dota Premier League. This is round 1 of the competition, day 2 of the playoffs, and it's Mith.Trust up against FXOpen. FXOpen, your champions of the NSL, and a Mith.Trust, pretty much a household name at this point as far as Dota is concerned. So jumping ourselves into the game, over on the side of Mith.Trust, we've got R5 playing the Rubik. TNK is going to be on the Lifestealer. We're going to have Abba playing the Dragon Knight, making his way towards mid. I said this is all that this guy plays, and looks like the record continues. We've got SD on the Skywrath Mage, so it is going to be a support Skywrath making his way down bot. We've got LK, or Lakels, on the Clinks making his way topside, and I'll hand it over to Swizzler, again, our biased commentator, to run us over the FXO lineup right now.
Yeah, okay, so we've got Captain March. He's slowly meandering his way on Ursa up to the top lane here. I'm not sure what he's going to do up there.
He's got dust.
See.
He's prepared for the Clinks. We'll see what he does.
He's got dust, right? But I don't know. Anyways, so, and the stand-in Doctor, I have no idea who this guy is, but he's going to be on Shadowfiend in the center lane. So we're gonna see how good he is pretty quickly because, you know, mid lane, right? That's what it's all about. You know,
it's a real battlefield. Yep.
And we got Febby. He's going to be on the Widrunner. So he's going to probably be doing a semi-carry role this game, most likely. Sagan on the Shadow Demon, and then FXO Anarchy on the Nyx Assassin. And so Sagan, yeah, he's going to be on the 5 position. Poor guy. But they're just kind of, they're down the bottom lane here, just kind of posturing against each other. But hey, Baskip, the Skywrath Mage did not go to the center lane. Instead, we're gonna have a DK there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be DK against Shadowfiend. I feel like SF is a little bit favored in this matchup. We'll see. Dragon Knight just spams his way. He spams his way through every single lane. Like you said, Febby's gonna be in a sort of farming win role here. They get almost the perfect block on the creep wave to start, but TNK already pulling that one out. And March picks up a double damage to start things off in the top lane, and looks like the strategy for him is actually going to be pulling the creep wave into the pull camp, so he's running the pull and trying to snag the last hits for himself. He needs to be perfect on the last hits. If the creeps get the last hit, then he actually doesn't get any of the experience for the kill, so it's kind of a risky strategy from him. It is going to force Lakels to take damage underneath the tower as the creep wave walks in, and yeah, March already putting some damage out there. Anarchy going to get the D ward off on the pull camp. Ursa, I would have to say, is not your typical 1v1 against the Clinks, but it looks like March is a man with a plan right now. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. Yeah.
It's going to be on the edge with Ursa and the Clinks because, you know, I don't know. I don't like the matchup at all for Ursa. I think he's going to probably end up losing it, but if he does somehow catch, you know, the Clinks off guard a bit, you know, he has the potential to just almost, you know, instantly kill him. At least until he starts getting his ult up, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
And with the early dust, Clinks is actually really slow, and Skeleton Walk with no boots doesn't actually make him all that much faster. So Clinks normally in his 1v1 matchups relies on having an escape ready at all times. In this case, he doesn't. If he actually pops it, I think he's going to end up exactly where he was, or slower still. So that's not there. March, however, needs to make his move before he runs out of regen, which has now happened. So here we go. Gonna make the attempt onto Lakels. Pops the dust. He's gonna dive in. He's got the second clap up in just a second. Can he get it? The dust is wearing off, but one more right click is going to be there for March. He had to go as soon as he ran out of regen, otherwise he would have been driven out of the lane. But that's going to be it.
Yeah, that was, it's like with Ursa, you know, you got to commit, right? You have to commit, or you run back, you're losing, you know, half or, you know, 3/4 of your life, and you know, then you lose the lane basically. So
yeah. So
He's in a good spot now, though. He's got the tranquil boots up. Yeah, he's going to be able to withstand the harassment from Clinks. So Clinks is just gonna still, just gonna keep getting nailed by that Earth Shock and get a few hits in. So I feel that March is in a really good position now. And the bottom lane, though, I mean, there hasn't really been a lot going on. It's been a lot of posturing. No one's really been able to take the position that they need to actually get a kill there.
Yeah, R5 caught out a little bit too far. Anarchy gonna walk in, get this done. They even got the body block in with the illusions, but the telekinesis is gonna cut down the trees. But I think this is just it for R5. The power shot flying through as well, and Mith.Trust not able to get across in time to save their Rubik. But nicely done by Sagan. I don't know if that was intentional to get the body block with the 2 illusions in the trees, but ends up working out fantastically. And they get a kill on the bottom lane, they've got a kill on top. March actually makes what looks to be, I think it was a trip all the way back to base for himself. There picks up a little bit of extra regen, has some more tangos, and the dust now back off cooldown. So Lakels needs to be pretty careful about this. We are going to have SD making his way topside. Let's see what he can do here. March looks like he wants to commit, but he doesn't know that the Skywrath Mage is
big
actually
trouble.
here.
This is big trouble for March.
Yeah, and here comes the concussive shot. He's not going to get the clap down. I think he's going to get silenced up. It might just die here. He's got the creep damage as well. Well, Lakels doesn't quite turn around as early as I thought he would there, just to try and put down some damage, but looks like March is going to end up being okay. And as soon as they see that the Skywrath Mage is on top lane, they should just harass TNK out of the bottom lane. He cannot, he shouldn't be allowed to be in this lane when there's no supports backing him up. So they're going to do exactly that. Meanwhile, on mid, Doctor is pulling ahead in terms of CS compared to the Dragonite, but falling a little bit behind. The one really nice thing for March is that even if he gets driven out of this top lane, he can buy a smoke and he can make his way mid. And so long as he connects that rank 3 Earth Shock, which he is maxing out first, he can probably look for a kill. It looks like Doctor in some trouble. He almost gets back to the tree line here. R5 waiting with the lift. Breathe Fire needs some mana. Doctor gonna turn around. Oh. He looks towards the Rubik and he bring him down. Abba keeps the dive going. Breathe Fire, not quite enough. The South pops for Doctor. He's still alive. Oh, he's juking. He turns around. Abba is too tanky. The tower shot's not doing that much, but we were wondering about this guy, and I think thumbs up there.
He plays Dragonite.
Clutch salve. Yeah, Abba plays Dragonite pretty much non-stop, but Doctor managing to survive. Great salve play and great boot from him there.
Yeah, check out. Doctor's got some really good net worth right now. He's doing really well. Yeah. Survived the gank there, survived the insanely annoying hasted Dragonite. Diving into the tower. He's looking pretty good now.
Yeah, looking good, and that's wasted time for the Myth supports. They've made rotations top lane, they've made rotations mid lane. Neither of them have connected with a successful kill, and Abba gonna make his way all the way back to base now, not able to run a Bottle Crow to stay in it, and was a little bit too afraid of the raises just nuking him down. So back he goes. It's a big win for the SF. Meanwhile, March caught napping a little bit on top lane, gonna be dragged back, and I think this might be first blood, at least as far as Myth are concerned. Yeah, will end up dropping down. I don't know what he was looking at there, because he was just kind of standing completely stationary in the
might have been in the shop maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Not sitting all the way back at the tower, and the creep wave sort of crept up on him there along with the heroes. So does end up dropping.
Well, it is a little bit late. Late in Korea right now, so maybe it's.
Maybe
but there was one thing.
Having a micro nap or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, March. Okay, so Ursa. One thing that's really good about Ursa is that he's not really item dependent. He gets a lot done with not much gold. He can take out Roshan so quickly, and the damage output, if you're not actively, controlling him, is great, even if he only has, some boots and some basic defensive items.
Yeah, so Ursa, they've definitely got that going on. And talking about Roshan, presence of the Dark Lord on top, in the later stages of the game, Roshan is going to be absolutely no obstacle at all. So Mith.Trust, I feel like it's very important for them to look to hold on to this tier 1. Well, they've got a lot of towers that have access to the Roshan pit by virtue of being on the dire side, but it is going to be important to hold on to that, otherwise it's going to be a pretty easy advantage for FXO. And looking at the FXO side right now, they want Dragonite dead right here. Abba just needs to be careful. If the Shadow Demon Disruption connects, then he's probably dead. Is he going to walk down into the low ground? He's weighing up his options. He gets a little bit of extra HP delivered, and there he goes down into the river. This is trouble. It's a rank 3 clap. There's a Nyx Assassin stun as well. Abba not long for this world. Down he goes, and FXO sitting at 3-1 so far. Farm in their favor just a little bit, 250 the gold lead. And experience actually in favor of Myth. We've got Lakel's already on the hunt. He's got treads. He's got a soul ring. He's looking for a pickoff right now, waiting for one of the FXO supports to drop off. Lakel's now out of the skeleton walk, gonna jump straight back in.
But you still, but the skeleton walk, even if it drops, even if you recast it, the enemy team, opponent team still, they're still able to see the flames.
Yeah, and you still got the fade time, and if there was some dust or quick disruption into a sentry or something there, that could have been
dead.
So, yeah, Lakel's needs to be careful about that. R5 gonna make his way mid lane, try and pick up a little bit of farm for himself. We've had a lot of action and a lot of movement on the map so far, but we're only 8 minutes in. Regen gonna be picked up by Doctor here. Meanwhile, Lakel's just looking to be super active on his Clinks, doesn't have the support backup right now. TNK is doing okay in terms of farm on bottom lane, though Febby is harassing him out pretty badly. Has his phase boots up, so every single time TNK tries to come into the lane, just chips away at him a little bit. Similar story for Lakel's on top, just driving back March at the moment. But he's got a fresh pack of dust. So they're looking for this. They're looking for this kill. Both teams playing it very aggressively. Slightly more defensive wards, however, from the Dire side right now. So just trying to spot the rotations, get some farm up on the Clinks. And once Lakel's gets, a little bit more progress towards his Orchid, they can look to bring the Lifestealer up off the lane, off bottom lane, and start getting him some good farm. So Mith.Trust, the overall game plan is still there, and FXO definitely need to make full use of the aggressive power of the Ursa early on before the Orchid and the open wounds and the lift and the Dragon Tail and all that. Sort of catch up with him. He needs to stay ahead of the curve and get that BKB as quickly as possible. He might even end up just rushing that, but no, going to be phase boots picked up right now.
Well, one thing going for FXOpen right now is that they have their if you look at the net worth, they have their gold where they want it to be. They have the highest gold on
bit of a fight breaking out on top lane. March, a little bit of trouble. He's silenced up, looks towards Lakel's. They pop the dust, they get the stun. Nice carapace, but Lakel's going to turn around. Drops down March. Sagan still wants this kill so badly. One more right click is what he needs. Can he connect the poison? He just barely gets it, but I don't think Lakel's will pop here. Power shot. Also just barely missing. He's trying to out-regen it. He's going to end up popping the salve. Meanwhile, back in the fight, Windrunner makes her way up, but Febby also stunned up and brought down. And Mith.Trust, just like that, will take the kill lead. Doctor is going to put some good pressure on the tier 1 tower mid, and we'll get them the consolation prize there. And hopefully we'll snag the last one as well. Yeah, so Doctor getting himself some good farm. And at least something going well in the last couple of minutes for FXO. So they get punished for the aggression, but they go straight back into it. So let's see what they can get going on here. Again, there's still good Dire warding spotting this movement, so the Nyx Assassin and the Ursa shouldn't really catch anybody by surprise.
Yeah, well, when you got a Nyx Assassin and to a lesser extent an Ursa on the field, you got to keep those wards up and you have to keep tabs on them because they're so dangerous and they do so much damage so quickly. You don't really have time to TP in anyone to help and even do slight positional changes because they're in, they're out, they kill, and then they're gone, right?
Yeah. This is the one thing for the Mith.Trust wards is that they do provide a false sense of security against smokes. So FXO, they've got 3 heroes actually sitting behind March right now. March's positioning might be a bit of a giveaway as to the fact that there is a smoke team waiting around the corner here, but looks like Lakel's, he's going to poke his head out and see what he can do anyway. Who's got sentries? Who's got dust? Lakel's is going to reveal the smoke. I don't know if he spotted the Nyx Assassin just yet. He's going to reveal Sagan. This should be a giveaway. Drop the sentry ward. Okay, not going to do it. I mean, having the smoke randomly revealed like that does give you the indication that the Clinks is lurking around. But they're going to spot him jungling up a little bit anyway, FXO with the very aggressive wards. And they are getting the push going for themselves. Mith.Trust, a similar move from them, but not actually going to be able to get anything out of it. And will Lakel's die here? He gets disrupted. Some of the skeleton walk duration wasted here. They've got dust. They don't manage to connect the clap March. The animation a little bit too long there. Lakel's still on the run and looks like he will be fine to escape. And Anarchy not quite in position for the stun either there. Meanwhile, R5, Doctor has a haste rune, and he wants Rubic Blood right now. Power shot also to connect.
Shadow Fiend.
Hasted Shadow Fiend, not a winning recipe. TNK gonna jump on top of him, and the haste rune has now worn off. Will he be able to escape? Looping around the tree, wind run to pop. Febby, can you get the body block or anything like that?
TNK's got to get out of there.
Yeah, I think TNK is gone. Turns around. Invis rune spawns up, but a second too late for him. And there is a lot of anti-invis already picked up for FXO, so it wouldn't have saved his life. But FXO, nice little couple of trades around the map, gets the push going, and yeah, leading by 2 kills. So 3k gold in their favor. 1K experience trailing right now, but Lakel's is, I mean, this guy is renowned for his Clinks play, but normally he just has a fantastic time in the 1v1 matchup, and looks like, I mean, I don't know if a Clinks has ever practiced the Ursa 1v1, and it seems to have sort of rattled him a little bit right now. His farm is just a little bit behind, but he's now got his first Oblivion staff, so he's not doing too badly. But FXO, they're the ones on the front foot. They're the ones being aggressive, and if they get too far ahead, they can just look to 5-man, and that'll really prevent the Clinks from getting those pickoffs with the Orchid. And those pickoffs are really important because they sort of springboard Clinks into the BKB, into his next big item, which he's going to need this game to really be able to kill the Windrunner, and especially if he doesn't stay ahead of the curve enough to the point where FXO get a lot of gold in their supports and get mech, go scepter, things like that. Things will get kind of difficult. Anarchy's going to get jumped on bottom lane. He's got the Carapace ready, but gets silenced up, and that's going to be it. So just caught out farming a little bit there. Both teams have been snagged here and there. Just in farming positions, but still pretty even on the whole. March going to finish up his Vlads. But yeah, both teams just playing this super active, and it's very exciting Dota to watch, I have to say.
Yeah, FXOpen, they really have to do that. I mean, they don't have a choice in this matchup. I mean, if you look at the lineups here, it feels like the game is going to progress to mid, and then, like
this is dangerous. Sagan in some trouble. Doctor gonna try and pop off the Requiem to get the damage reduction down, but gets silenced up, gets lifted, still on the run, relatively tanky with his Ogre Club picked up. Anarchy gonna whiff the stun completely there, and now Doctor down he will go. Buyback from the Shadow Demon. Shackle Shot flies out, will latch onto TNK. March comes in, gets stunned up by the Dragon Tail. They're still looking towards TNK. March gets silenced, however, the Infest into the Dragon Knight, out TNK popped. March still in some trouble, looks like he will be able to survive here. Phase booting away, nice Shackle Shot. Gonna latch, and TNK just gonna rage. TP out. Lakel, they get the lift up onto Anarchy. Looks like he's gonna go down again. Breathe fire to wipe him out. Febby also in trouble. Sagan turns around and gets the disruption, but it's not on Lakel's. 4 flaming arrows to bring down the Shadow Demon. Lakel's gets shackled up. Febby, not enough mana for the power shot. But gonna chase out, needs to be careful. R5, R5, nothing left in the tank. But FXO, little team fight on bottom lane.
They're not giving up.
Yeah, March is gonna TP back in. Abba, get the stun. He's gonna Dragon. Oh, he's actually just gonna Dragon Tail and TP back out. That's a very cheeky play from him, but I think, yeah, maybe not able to get in with the shackle or anything like that. So.
That team fight felt a little bit disorganized on FXOpen's team. I mean, it just, it was kind of like 2 versus 5, 3 versus 5, and then they kind of it felt like the old syndrome of you got one hero coming in at a time, and you don't really get anything done except just die. And then your teammates like, oh, I gotta save you, but then they just end up dying. Yeah,
you got a little bit robotic for a sec. Hopefully it'll clear up. But yeah, FXO, I think a lot of the problem there was just some support decisions. Anarchy threw he threw an Impale just over here behind the trees, didn't connect on anyone when there were 4 heroes running in. So Shadow Fiend ends up dropping, and then, I mean, the disruption on the DK helps to remove the immediate threat of the Dragon Tail, but as we saw, Clinks just right-clicked him down. Anyway, I feel like he might have died there regardless, but maybe he has slightly better odds of escaping the DK as opposed to escaping the Clink. So just little things from the supports, and at this early stage of the game, the supports are definitely super important. So let's see if you're still Mr. Roboto. Kinda.
Am I still Mr. Roboto?
Yes. Domo arigato. But yeah. Hopefully it'll clear up. I mean, we
can't be helped.
So explain to me why the South Korean internet connection to the rest of the world during the evening gets weird. That strikes me as very surprising.
Well, it's not the rest of the world. It's just going east across the Pacific because all of the traffic from YouTube crosses that line, or a lot of it does, anyways. And so when everyone kind of gets on, all the kiddies get on after school or whatever, around
and all the
6:30 onwards.
All the streaming starts and the
and then the pipes are filled, and then there's no more pipe. And then there's no more internet.
Internet's a series of tubes, and you don't have enough tubes, and that's kind of the problem.
And the trucks don't need gas,
So
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, to get around in our team, and a lot of people I know from Korea and even in North America, you know, they use the fast, what is it? It's a VP or so a virtual private net.
yeah, VPN.
Yeah, VPN. Yeah, so that they can kind of get priority traffic, and
Okay.
usually it works quite well. You know, usually you can keep 120, 110 millisecond ping. Even during this time of night. So, that's what they're using, but that's not what I'm using because that's for, it's kind of designed for the games and I don't have a VPN. So, you're just going to have to deal with my robotic voice. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If it gets too much worse, we can maybe try hosting the call again or something like that. But it has its moments of being full robot, and then it gets a little bit better, and then it kind of swings back. So we'll see. Again, as the tubes become more or less filled, but we're gonna have the unpause back into the game, guys. Checking in on the graphs, I brought them up as we were chatting there. 3K is the gold lead in favor of FXO, though experience about 3K in favor of Myth, and an indicator that we are having a very even game right now. Despite those last couple of trades, Doctor is still rushing his way towards a BKB. Febby almost actually has the mech finished now. Gonna get that one delivered. 600 gold. On top, Sagan and Anarchy not too far, no arcane boot progress, and they're looking to intercept Roshan right now. Anarchy heads out, gets the one-man stun onto R5, Shackle Shot, latches as well, they get the disruption, Mystic Flare thrown up by Sagan. Abba, they wasted some of that Shackle Shot duration, a little bit of a misplay there, but looks like they will still be able to bring down the DK FXO. They emerge from the pit to kill off 2.
That went way better than how I thought it would go because I thought that they would be tanking with Febby so that March can get in with the without being stunned by Roche. But maybe they were just kind of trying to bait it in. I'm not sure. That was insane, man. Holy crap. That was. I mean, I was just team wipe in my mind.
Yeah.
Team wipe.
Lakel's was pushing top, and March is actually going to be able to TP in and get the deny on the tower. And FXO, I said that the supports didn't have any arcanes, but looks like Anarchy's now been able to snag himself a pair. And March, now at the age, is looking a little bit happier. Can start working his way towards whatever the mobility item is going to be. You can make a case that a BKB is a mobility item in this game against the slows, the silences, and all of that, though it might end up being something like a Blink Dagger instead. We see all kinds of things on Earth. It all depends on how far ahead he feels. Lakel's would have had his Orchid finished if he'd gotten the last hit on the tower, but the deny slows him down a little bit. It is now flying out, however, so we've got lots of item progression on both sides, but FXO secure themselves a little bit more gold, grabbing Roshan. Some nice experience, and gonna tie it back up, well, almost tie it back up 8-9 as the overall score. So Lakel's got this Orchid, he needs to get some pickoffs. But I feel like well, here's the thing, pushing into the tier 2s is difficult, but FXO, they're not really the pickoff-oriented lineup, per se. So long as they run a buddy system, then Lakel shouldn't be able to kill them off, and looks like they are doing that, at least for the moment. Though Febby, a little bit out on the bottom lane. He does have a mech, so he's probably the most difficult to kill for Lakel's. And he hasn't given away the fact that he's finished his Orchid yet, unless he was spotted by this Radiant Ward, which is waiting all the way back at the tower. So if he hasn't given this away, then he wants to try and use that element of surprise, but he's going to walk straight into the entire FXO side and says, I'm not going to try that. So he's still lurking around, but FXO looks like they know what the Clinks is up to, and they're just going to try and turn this into a push. Myth making a good move. They're going to head towards the middle lane, and Lakel's is actually just going to backdoor the tower. No backdoor protection on tier 1, so says, you won't give me a kill, I'll just give you some free gold. I'll give myself some free gold and fix that one up.
Yeah, here's that 5-man dodo that you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is definitely what they have to do right now.
Yeah, so FXO just preventing the Clinks from getting in there, and they're just going to keep on pushing. They've got the Aegis up on March, and they're just saying, Myth, we know that your Lifestealer is still a little bit underfarmed, and that, your Clinks is really only looking for pickoffs. He doesn't want to teamfight us right now, so they're going to force the issue. Myth throw out some defensive spam, trying to force them back. They're making their way in from the side. Dragon Knight going to pop off the haste. He's got the Dragon Tail as well. Anarchy in some trouble, but nice defensive disruption for Sagan. Going to buy some space. Now they're dropping the Requiem, splitting up the fight. R5 steals the winner and able to make his way back out. Mystic Flare whiffs. March gets stunned up. He's going to be back in just a second. Doctor keeps on right-clicking the haste. DK making his way out on the other side of the fight. R5 brought down FXO. It ends up being the Aegis for one, but TNK is in the midst of everything as well, and the Ursa right-click is going to bring him down. Febby with the double. Now Abba on the front lines, but they've lost 2. Shackle Shot gonna fish out, but not gonna end up latching. No fortification in FXO. They are here to take a Rax unless Myth can find something to force them back out of the base. Disruption out onto the Dragon Knight, the silence onto Anarchy to prevent the follow-up stun. Nicely played there by the Skywrath Mage. But Tier 3's gonna drop. Defensive spam still going out. Nobody getting caught. March in some trouble. Lakels wants the kill. He's gonna be able to pick that one up. But nice 2-hero shackle. Febby latches it.
Clutch.
Now Abba
Clutch shackle.
in trouble. And there's the... They've got an Impale, he goes down. Buybacks from Mith.Trust, they know that this only gets harder if they lose this Rax here. So they will be able to repel the FXO side, and FXO trying to TP out, turn around, Anarchy gets the stun. I think he might end up dropping here, gets lifted, Shadow Demon knowing that there's nothing that he can do for him anymore. And we'll just keep on running away. So FXO, it ends up being a costly push, but they get the Tier 3. And Mith.Trust not without their own losses. They bought back on both Clinks and the Dragon Knight there to be able to hold off the push. So big investment for them as far as gold is concerned, and FXO not doing anything of the sort. So they can just gear up that push a second time, and Mith.Trust, I think it's really great that they appreciate how important holding on to that is. If they give away 1 Rax at 20 minutes into the game, it doesn't get easier. Even if you farm up a bunch of items, taking the Rax immediately, reduces your total farm just from the lanes. And I mean, it's costly, but it had to be done. So just
knocking down that Tier 3 tower is definitely worth it. I mean, and they even got, they got up to the Rax and they had to force out some buybacks. So I mean, all in all, that was an excellent trade for FXO. And it looks like
Lakel's gets the pick off on there.
Yeah, Lakel, he's got balls. I mean, I guess you have to have balls to play Clinks, sitting right beside the enemy team and hoping that they don't randomly pop a sentry down or a dust.
Yeah, and now he's making his way topside to try. Oh, he can't really do anything to Febby. He's got a Force Staff and he's got the mech. A little bit too difficult to bring down on the Windrunner, but Lakel's might make a crack at it here. At least put some fear into Febby. We'll see what he does. I don't know if the silence duration is quite going to be enough. Febby just cuts himself a nice little path through the trees. He's close enough to the cliff that if Lakel's jumps him, he'll just Force Staff down. So Lakel's is kind of waiting for the opportunity to at least get a full attempt at him, but Febby's not moving in any clear direction, so Lakel's can't stand in front of him and be right-clicking as he walks in. And I mean, okay, some people have argued that there's Doppler shifted DPS, as in if the enemy hero is running towards you and you're shooting projectiles at them, then your effective DPS is actually higher. But the bigger deal is just that they're not escaping. But
yeah,
anyway.
There's nothing that you can do against Windrunner. I mean, it's just so it's just kind of hang around and look at each other, and but he should have just shot anyways, because then at least you're pushing Windrunner away from that small bit of farm that he might be able to get if you don't shoot at him. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, driving him back
like,
is always worthwhile.
Looks like there's a big fight going, or not a big fight. Sorry, looks like they're posturing down the bottom here at the Ancients, and yeah, that DK, he's still not very farmed. He doesn't really have much on him. All he's got is just an old club right now, and bottle and boots. So right now, if FXO kind of pushes out and does what they did on the bottom lane there, maybe goes against bottom lane again, maybe just more 5-man. They'll do really well, but I don't know why. But right now, they have to get together as 5 because the Myth lineup. Well, let me ask you, Basket. What do you think about the late game for Myth? I mean, are they going to come out ahead?
I mean, they've got the tri-core lineup, and FXO. I mean, Windrunner counts as a core hero with the levels of farm that Febby has. It's definitely up there, but I mean, Mith.Trust. The late game is perhaps a little bit too far away right now. I think the one reason that FXO are just waiting is they are picking up a bunch of core items, and I think March really wants a BKB, which is getting pretty close to. So I think that's going to be the trigger for the next push. But I mean, FXO do have to stay aware of the fact that Myth have some very solid late game threats between the Dragon Knight and the Nakes. And the biggest deal with the DK Nakes is that not only are they going to grow insane in terms of HP and how much focus it takes to bring them down. But Clinks, if you're focusing on the Nakes and the Dragon Knight, then you're not focusing on the Clinks, who is killing off all your supports in the back lane. So on the back side of the fight. So I think I have to agree that FXO have to start going for these pushes again. But I think the BKB on March is very important, and we'll see if they get punished for maybe not waiting around for it here. Doctor just keeps on bottle growing, in fact, grabbing himself a little bit more mana there. As far as the warding situation is concerned, FXO have some aggressive wards, kind of showing their game plan from here. Pick up the 2 towers, go head towards Roshan, try and grab that one for free if they can. Unlikely. And then once they've got all three lanes opened up, they can look to take the rack spot and then really close it out. So Myth, they are definitely on the back foot right now, but it's far from over. Disruption Illusion's going to make their way onto the tower. Just getting some free right click in there. R5 walks in, needs to be careful of Shackle Shot right now. Both teams just positioning. TNK goes back to grab some farm. FXO now committing. Lifestealer, a long walk around for him. Will Mith.Trust be able to close the pincer here? They're walking around. Lakel's is on the other side. What can they do? They pop off the dragon form. They silence up Sagan. He's going to be bursted down. Lakel's popping the BKB. Here comes the Requiem Missiles. Thrown out. Abba backing off. Slowed down. TNK keeps on chasing. Can they bring down March? He's still alive. Shackle stolen. Flies back onto Anarchy. Lakel's still standing his ground. BKB now wearing off. Silence onto Anarchy. Stunned up as well as the supports being focused right now as the carries on low life will be able to escape. Gem, however, drops out of the Nyx Assassin. Febby on the run. He's got the Force Staff ready to go and make his way over to the high ground. Yeah, up he goes. But one more right-click March, not quite dead. He's got the stick charge. Is going to keep him alive there on, I think, 8 or 9 HP. But Mith.Trust take a very convincing team fight. And again, I feel like FXO could have just waited, should have just waited around for the BKB on March. Especially since they...
Yeah, because without the BKB, he just got carried around. I mean, I was watching, he went... March, I think... I don't know if it was panic, but he launched out his shockwave on the Lifestealer, TNK, after he had already used his rage. And the other guy beside him, I can't remember who it was, but he already had his BKB down. So, and then, you know, from there, he just basically got slowed down, kited a bit, and then, you know, he just ran away right away. He wasn't able to do any actual damage, you know. I mean, Ursa, you know, he's a strength warrior, or sorry, strength hero, right? But he does need to have at least BKB and some, you know, a little bit of defense.
He's actually an agi hero.
Yeah, sorry, he was a strength. Okay, right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay.
He's an agi
hero, but
he's
feels like
hero,
a strength hero.
Yeah, he builds like a strength hero. His ultimate is free damage based on his HP, which is obviously grown by strength. So yeah, he's
right. Sorry guys.
Swizzler not earning points tonight, but anyway.
Not earning points. Oh, my gold star.
Okay, so FXO. They've now got the BKB finished on March. I feel like the game plan there was, oh, we've got the gem. Clinks isn't a threat, so let's just push the tower and I'll get my BKB from that. They do end up being punished for it. They lose the gem, which is a big loss. They really needed that for the 5-man group up and push, so I think a little bit of being a little bit too eager there. And the Clinks bomb is actually loaded up right now. Double damage on the Clinks as well. Only a couple of seconds left. He's going to silence up Sagan. They're going to burst him down before he can do anything. FXO turn around to deal with the threat in their back lines, but Abba is now hasted up, makes his way in. They stun up Doctor. He gets lifted in the Mystic Flare. Silenced as well. Will he be able to pop anything? Still holding on to the BKB for now. Thinks he's just going to die anyway, and Abba will finish him off there. R5. Shackle not going to latch. SD waiting on the backside of the fight. Healing up. They do manage to bring down the Clinks meanwhile. And Anarchy just fighting against TNK. Not a very fair fight. March going to come in to try and even it up a little bit. No stun as the rage is still up for a fraction of a second there for TNK. March still wants this. He's got the BKB. Meanwhile, it's Febby trying to TP out. He almost timed it between the stuns, but Abba going to put an end to that one. So down he goes. March keeps on waiting forward. He managed to bring down TNK, but now he's the one in jeopardy. R5 lifting cool.
He could turn around though with BKB. Oh no,
never mind. I think there was maybe an opportunity for him to try, but I don't know if he brings down more than one.
He brings down Rubik.
Yeah, he definitely kills Rubik there. But at the end of the day, he's just going to take the defensive play and escape. I mean, FXO, Febby, I don't know how he ended up all the way back by the 2-2, but it does end up dropping. So, it's not a terrible fight for them taking stock. They got the Clinks, they got the Lifestealer, they lost the Windrunner, and they lost Shadow Fiend, and I think they lost a couple of the supports as well. Anarchy definitely went down, and yeah, Sagan started off the fight with his death. So FXO, it ends up being 4 for 2. They don't get any of the support kills there, but still bringing down the Clinks. They're still bringing down the Lifestealer. Bodes well for them, given that, I mean, Myth had all the initiation in that fight. They had a hasted Dragon Knight. They had a little bit of double damage left on the Clinks, along with the, you know, catching FXO by surprise and picking off one here right at the start. So despite it being a 4v5 fight, still works out well. And FXO now going to make their way into the pit. Doctor just going to pop off the Mantis Cell to dispel the silence there. Lakel's looking for the kill, but looks like he's going to be fine. And should be bottling up on not strength treads, but maybe we'll let that one go. Open wounds thrown onto the illusion. March being a little bit tricky there. Was just scouting while he was in the pit. But didn't actually end up putting too much damage down on Roshan. There is always the danger that you put too much damage on Roshan and then the enemy team arrives and you just can't do anything to stop them killing you and just taking it. So I think a good decision there not to even try since Mith.Trust was still lurking around. But FXO, this time they're going to be smoking up right underneath their own sentry ward to make sure that there is no way that Myth have vision of this. And let's see who they can find.
Maybe the BK Abba.
Yeah, he's got a BKB, however, so they'd have to chain stun him perfectly. R5 on the back side of the fight, and Lakel's, he's actually loaded up with the Nakes. There's nobody's home, and R5 gonna get bursted. Abba just gonna have to run away. Klink's making his way back. They were looking for a pickoff, but FXO now gonna head into the pit, and talked about it earlier in the game. Presence of the Dark Lord plus Ursa. Roshan isn't really an obstacle, so down he's gonna go. That's only our second Roshan, but FXO with some nice moves. And getting into the Roshan pit is especially difficult when you've already given away a gem to the enemy team, but they get the great smoke, they make sure that it's 100% safe standing on top of the sentry ward, and that's going to get them the Aegis, and that might be what they need for the push on bottom lane. Again, they're a little bit behind as far as their overall strategy, which would have been take the tier 2s, go and take 2 lanes of Rax with the next Aegis. So Mith.Trust doing a good job of keeping the fights on the Radiant side of the map. But things still looking good for FXO and a big window of opportunity here with the 6 minutes of Aegis.
Yeah, when they smoked up, I was on edge, man, because even though so they were on their sentry, so it was safe. But I was just praying to God that they did not go through the river or anywhere close to the river. I was just praying to God, and they made the right choice. They went all the way around, and they got the pick off. They got the Roshan. Oh,
they're gonna stun up TNK on top lane as well. He doesn't have an infest. The catcher connects perfectly. He's gonna toggle on the armlet, pops the drum, but there's the demonic purge and TNK. And just
that
left
purge, man. That purge.
The anti lifestealer is just there's so many ways to deal with him in the game now, and not too surprising that he's dropped from being first ban, first pick into becoming sort of second pick later rounds, just because teams have become really adept at dealing with him, and a lot of the heroes that deal with him well, and especially like an Ursa pick. Have been becoming more popular of late, but I mean, I'm not going to call Ursa popular, but we've seen a little bit more of him in some of these anti-Nakes lineups, and anti-Dragon Knight as well. DK is normally crazy tanky.
Before, that's for sure.
Yeah, but DK is normally crazy tanky with all of his bonus armor, but Presence of the Dark Lord and the Ursa right click make
you got to keep that armor down, because if it gets too high, if you have no way of knocking it down to like 15, 10, or something like that, it just takes forever. It takes forever to kill DK with physical attacks, even with Ursa.
Yeah, his EHP is absolutely huge when he's got this much armor. I mean, only 1.8k HP, so his total health pool isn't that much, but with this much armor, he's got 50% physical damage resistance. I can't do the EHP calculation off the top of my head, but it should be in the region of like it should be in the region of like 2.5k physical EHP. But anyway, FXO, they've got that tier 2 tower on mid after a nice pickup on the lifestealer, and now they're just looking for some more kills. Lurking up on the high ground, waiting for a support to come and place a ward or something similar. Did they buy a new gem? They have not, they're just relying on sentry wards at the moment. Can they actually buy a new gem? They could if they wanted to, if anybody had the gold. They're just waiting right now, right on top of the sentry, waiting for Lakel's to decide that he wants to go and eat a creep, but he's actually down lurking in the Radiant jungle. Has the Demon Edge picked up. It's going to be an MKB, so that he doesn't have to worry too much about the win run on the Windrunner, and it's probably going to be it's going to be a Butterfly as well for Shadow Fiend at some point. So the right choice from him. But FXO just playing this very cautiously. The last time they had the Aegis, things went okay. The next couple of minutes were a little bit rockier, and again, they don't want to risk anything here. They are in control of a small lead, about 10k gold and about 1k experience. So both teams just looking for that free pick-off that will enable some more pushes. Febby gonna look for a shackle on bot. He's gonna latch it up onto Lakel's, but there isn't anybody around to help him out, so he's just gonna be win running his way back to base. 10 times fast, don't want to say it, but Nakes buys a Basher. We have a Basher up on Ursa, and FXO, I feel like they have to make use of this Aegis, so Mith.Trust kind of know what they're planning. It's just a question of can they outmaneuver them or beat them in a team fight.
Yeah, the Aegis, it's going to be down, in a bit. I'm not sure how you check that because I haven't tried to check it before, but
do you
the
wanna...
Bashers are really good pickups.
Okay, so you can see the circle in the Roshan pit, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's a 10-minute.
Yeah, I saw.
It's a 10-minute clock. So every
Yeah,
marking is a minute. Yeah.
There was a clock that I saw on a previous broadcast by BTS.
Oh yeah,
few days
they
back.
have their own little
Oh yeah, they got their
timer
special
that they,
stuff. Okay,
that they add on the overlays. Unfortunately, I'm the one-man team at my place, so I can't do all of the fancy stuff that BTS can do with having Kawa there on site. But yeah, maybe I can look into to see what I can do by myself. But for now, I just rely on the pop-ups and yeah, reading the analog Roshan clock. We're gonna have a pause.
Yeah,
here.
you know, this is kind of risky, Basket, what they're doing here, because I mean there isn't a lot of time on the Aegis, and it's happened a lot in the past where you think that you've got the Aegis for like 10 or 20 or 30 seconds more, but you only have like 20 or 10 or 5 seconds, and then you end up dying.
Yeah, if one team, if Mith.Trust have it timed down to the absolute second, and FXO don't, FXO should have it timed down to the second because they were the ones that got it, and Mith.Trust should as well. But if a fight breaks out and the fight is dragging on because there are BKBs, there are lots of longevity abilities for both teams, then you can lose track and you can think, okay, let's take the fight. I've got 40 seconds left on the Aegis, and before you know, the fight is actually dragged on 40 seconds. The enemy team has kited you in circles. And the other big problem is that March, there's this actually no, the Aegis is up on the Shadow Fiend. But
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
So glad that the Aegis is on the Shadow Demon instead of the
Shadow
Ursa,
Fiend.
because there's nothing more frustrating than going down as Ursa and then dying and getting the Aegis, but you can't really do too much after the Aegis because your overpower is down and your Urshak is down and everyone went away from you because they don't want to die instantly.
Yeah. And I think it's good. I think the thing that Shadow Fiend needs to be careful of, he doesn't fall into the trap of, and again, it's another trap with the Aegis of, you really want to pop the BKB after you respawn to get the full, value out of it. But again, if you die and you haven't used your BKB because you think you have the Aegis, then that's not a great outcome in the fight. We have a pause right now. Who actually initiated this one? It was Abba. So it looks like Myth just need a break.
Yeah, like you said, and especially, yeah, you're right. And also the BKB, after the BKB goes down, Ursa, especially late game, is kind of just, like a really strong creep.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna get kited around quite a bit. He's got the Basher, so he can stay on target for quite a bit. And I don't think FXO are gonna wait much longer. If the game is going to end for them, it'll probably be relatively soon. We've got the Butterfly up on the Shadow Fiend. I mean, if they get repelled on this push, it's a very bad sign for them. There's only one dire buyback this time around, and looks like everybody else is just buying up, so DK will be the only one with a second life, and buyback on the Dragon Knight, not all that useful, in fact, so... I mean, unless he, for some reason, chooses not to pop the Dragon Form on the first life, but he shouldn't. Oh, Shackle shot up onto the high ground. Do they have any follow-up here? They're going to force staff him back. March walks up, pops the BKB. They're focusing on the TNK. They're going to burst him down. Not quite. He toggles the armlet. He's still alive. Abba at the front of the fight. Pops his BKB as well. Most of the BKB is used. Bebby looking for this next Shackle. Doctor's stunned up. His BKB now wearing off. Gets silenced, but he's got the edges. So he's going to keep on standing his ground. Going to keep on fighting. They've brought down Lakel's. He came in on the back lines of the fight. Now the Shackle shot up onto SD. And that's it. Mith.Trust. GG.
That butterfly. Basket, the butterfly.
I think it saved Doctor's life there. Really.
It evaded so much damage from the DK from... It was... Oh my god.
Okay, guys.
That was perfect timing. Perfect timing. Butterfly up. Aegis still enough time. They made the push at the perfect time.
Yeah, they had everything going for them in the world there. So if they'd been repelled on that push, that would have boded really, really badly. Because with that much of an advantage, Myth shouldn't really be able to take the fight. But anyway, guys, this is the AMD Dota 2 Premier League. I've been Baseskip. It's been a pleasure casting for you so far tonight. I've been here in association with Dota Talk. If you guys want to support them, then remember to follow them here on the stream. If you guys want to leave me some feedback as far as this cast was concerned, then you can drop me an email, baskipdota@gmail.com. Again, don't go too far, guys. It's a best of 3 set for this round 1 of the playoffs of this event. Game 2 will be coming up in about 5 minutes. Looks like the FXO players want a little bit of a break. Joining me today was Swizzler from FXO, and I assume that you're going to be back for Game 2?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So he'll be back, guys. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Sit back, relax, maybe go grab a snack or something like that before Game 2 kicks off, and looking forward to seeing you then.